Well, folks, the year is 2021, so that means, of course, we're in the middle of the 2020 Olympic Games. And on that note, I mean, it's kind of like wrestling, you know? There's a bit of an undercard. There's the main event. I think the 100-meter sprint. That would be the main event, right?
That's the main event of the Summer Olympics.
So on that note, picture this, if you will. The 100-meter sprint is going on. You're in the race. You, Cameron Osborne. The race is starting. Everything's going. And you run past the man who is in last place. What place does that put you in?
Second last?
Well, my friend, it would be impossible to pass the man in last place because he's the furthest back in the pack. So, folks, that was a riddle, but that's not the only riddle on the show. We'll be getting to him on Monday Night Raw. But, hey, we're the Shoot Brothers podcast, and that was just something new. I am Mike, the Shoot Shepherd. This is Cameron, the Riddle Man Osborne. And we're here to talk wrestling, actually.
We're here to talk wrestling because although there is amateur wrestling in the Olympics, there is no professional wrestling in the Olympics. That might be a little bit harder to figure out.
I think they got rid of the wrestling as well.
Oh, really? They got rid of amateur wrestling
stuff.
Also? Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad.
I think so. Much to Kurt Angle's dismay.
I know. Much to the chagrin of many commentary teams who cannot say that they're an Olympic amateur wrestler anymore, which is too bad. But yeah, Mike, like you said, this is the Shoot Brothers, and we pretty much have a normal-ish week. I mean, Money in the Bank is now 2 weeks behind us. The big SummerSlam card is coming up. And then after that, All Out. And the professional wrestling league just kind of keeps rolling on now that we're back with crowds. And WWE is back to doing, like, house shows. But they're, like, these super house shows that are kind of stacking these cards a few times a week.
Apparently, yeah. But nothing important will happen on them.
Rarely does it ever. I think there was one house show... I think AJ beat Jinder for that WWE Championship at a house show.
That was a Smackdown.
It was a Smackdown, but like on delay. Maybe that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, pre-taped. Yeah.
Right, okay, so it's something of that effect. But yeah, house shows are back, not like it really affects us in any way. But of course, if there's major action that happens on one of those shows, you'll hear about it here. So let's get into our show then, shall we? Because professional wrestling just keeps moving. And let's kick off the week by crowning a brand new Tweet of the Week champion. It's the Tweet of the Week. It's the Tweet of the Week. Like, coming up to the main roster, I certainly, suffice to say, Karrion Kross's ascent has been has been a bit more difficult than I think Hunter would have really wanted.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I think he thought maybe, a brick shithouse guy like that, on paper, should be a dude who just runs show. But maybe that's more of a main roster thing. We're down on NXT. It's the little guys who really steal the show every single night on a weekly basis. And this past week, a fan had tweeted a photo. Karrion Kross has been making some main roster appearances with fans in the background. He's holding that NXT title. Still no Scarlett to be seen. And posted a photo of Karrion Kross standing in front of the live crowd and professional wrestling legend Gilberg. In a little side-by-side photo, and the fan asked, "Tell me what the difference is." And Gilberg, he's there on Twitter. He's making Twitter appearances every so often, and he responded back to the tweet, "I was over."
Oh.
And there you have it.
Got him.
And also looking, and it is a funny one, because looking at Gilberg and Karrion Kross beside each other, like neck up, they have the exact same, like, shaved head, goatee. Like, they neck up, they look the exact same. And Mike, I guess you were around for Gilberg. Yeah. Was he over in your eyes? Was he more over than Karrion Kross is to you?
Yes.
Well, I mean, there you have it. There you have it. Then you don't really need much more info. Gilberg is over. Karrion Kross is not. And the main roster might just have to deal with that because it sort of seems like the Karrion Kross's arrival is imminent now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But Gilberg winning the title. I don't think Karrion Kross is ever. Does he even have a Twitter?
Karrion Kross?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. It's one of those Twitters that it's not fun.
Yeah.
He's just sort of there posting a photo of him doing a back workout or something, and you're like, this isn't fun. But yeah, congratulations to Gilberg. First time Tweet of the Week champion. Both Gilberg, I think both Gilberg and Goldberg actually might both be no Goldberg. Never mind. No Goldberg. But either way, congratulations to everybody. Time to talk wrestling.
Yes. Well, that was wrestling.
Well, I mean, I guess that was wrestling related. Let's get into our week then, shall we? We are hot off the trail of Money in the Bank, and we are making our way up to SummerSlam. So let's kick off this week's edition of Smackdown Live. Okay, folks, it's Friday night. It's time for Smackdown Live. It used to be on Tuesday, but then I think it was on Friday before, though. No, wait, they used to film it on a Thursday and then release it. It's just Smackdown Live. Because the summer of Cena keeps rolling. August 8th, the Suicide Squad. Check it out. Now we did
saw some commercials. He looks pretty funny.
Hey, he looks pretty funny. The Peacemaker series is coming out in January. Get your HBO Max or Crave subscription now. And at the end of Money in the Bank, we got a big ol' pop to John Cena returning to SmackDown, appearing to be that challenger for Roman Reigns in that Universal Championship at SummerSlam. And John Cena kicks off this week's show, exploding through that curtain.
Another huge reaction from the crowd.
As we're on the road to SummerSlam, where he kind of comes out and immediately just kind of reiterates his challenge to Roman Reigns. I think he cussed him at some point, either called him a shit or a something like that.
Yeah, shit or a bitch or one of those.
One of those.
But basically lays down the challenge for the Universal title, and also they're in Cleveland, so he made a reference to the baseball team being changed from the Indians to the Guardians. He wants to change his middle name to Guardian. So, I don't know. That was a little... I don't think they liked that. The crowd booed him when they mentioned the name change.
Cena's a good guy, though. You got to do it. I think, Cena's the type of person who's definitely going to promote a change like that.
Yeah. But, anyways, he just eventually he tells Reigns to come on out here, but instead Paul Heyman comes out, just talks some trash, and he does this little impression of Cena's theme song, doesn't he? Or was that Roman? Roman comes out.
That was Roman who came out doing the little impression.
Yeah.
There.
But he doesn't really say yes or no. We'll get more from Roman later.
Yeah. Hopefully hear more from him probably at the end of the show.
Yeah. But before that, we got Finn Balor making his big return to the ring on SmackDown, I guess, against Sami Zayn. So, not going to get a bad match out of those two. And fucking Sami Zayn, Michael Cole's done this too many times. Sami Zayn hits the Blue Thunder Bomb, and he calls it the Michinoku Driver. But come on. They're not the same move at all.
Those are super different maneuvers.
Yeah.
Weird.
And he's done it like 5 times.
Really? Okay, I have not noticed that, no.
Anyways, Balor fights back, hits his big shotgun drop kicks and the coup de grace to get the win.
Yeah, kind of not much to the match. I think there was a big commercial break here, which felt like it stopped the flow. But hey, these guys are pros. These guys are old pros who could probably sleepwalk their way through an adequate match.
Yeah. And, we might see more from them. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But Mr. Money in the Bank, Big E, comes out to cut a promo on his huge victory. crowd's pumped. They're chanting, "You deserve it." But then Big E gets interrupted by Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. And then Rick Boogs and Nakamura come out. And then Cesaro comes out. Everyone just starts brawling. And the baby faces stand tall. But believe it or not, this does not lead us to a big multi-man tag match.
This might have been the first time that that's ever happened. I've never seen so much beef in the ring and then them not immediately book it out, which almost feels almost like a weird, like, lazy bit of booking.
Well, here's the funny thing.
Okay.
So at this point in time, we cut venues. We switched to this Rolling Loud music festival.
Oh, yes.
The live crowd there. The live crowd that was watching this SmackDown, they actually do see that multi-man match. The guys just stay in the ring and they wrestle, and they don't watch the Rolling Loud footage.
Right, I did hear Rolling Loud. I guess just some music festival, just kind of like the rest of them.
Some music festival. So it's kind of an interesting look to it, but I mean, they're not there for wrestling; they're there for music. But anyways, we have these two matches: Angelo Dawkins and Chad Gable. So it's kind of cool. You know, the ring's elevated super high up on top of the stage, so you have like a crowd looking up at the ring, which you don't normally see. Mm-hmm. But the match itself, nothing too crazy.
Oh, you forgot Wale came out with them also.
Oh yeah, Wale did the
big former Tweet of the Week champion, big professional wrestling fan.
Well, eventually Dawkins hits a spine buster, gets the win. But then we got one more match here for the Rolling Loud crowd. Bianca Belair taking on Carmella in a SmackDown's Women's Championship rematch. Carmella's getting another shot. But yeah, match was fine. At one point, the crowd was chanting for someone. I guess the main act of I didn't get his name.
Of the festival? I'm not sure who it actually was. But
some guy. But anyways, Bianca hits the KOD, gets the win, retains her title. But one big thing I noticed, which you'll never see in a wrestling crowd, is when Bianca did the pin, no one was counting 1, 2, 3 with the ref.
Yeah, so it's certainly like both this and that kind of 6-man or whatever, like fighting an uphill battle for fans.
It's just a whole weird thing.
Who not only like, let's say you're a music festival and you're going to host this professional wrestling thing, certainly SmackDown, like having Bianca Belair and Carmella is much, much different than, let's say, John Cena and Edge. You know, like you were to think, like, if you are going to put something, it seems weird, like, you know, like adding the professional wrestling to a music festival. Yeah, sure, that's fine, whatever. But like, you would think it would almost be at like an indie production. One of those, like, hey, it's there just for people to watch if they want to, not the focal point on the main stage that will then be broadcasted out to, millions of households. Especially somebody like, nobody fucking knows who Bianca Belair is. Nobody knows who Carmella is. That's tough. That's got to be tough.
It was a weird experiment, but we've seen a lot crazier things done.
Of course. Well, hey, we saw the fight pit, so
yeah, some work, some don't.
Exactly.
They probably won't come back to this. What's it called? Rolling Loud,
or retool it, right? Like I was at a music festival in Tennessee where there was a live taping of Comedy Bang Bang, but it was it was contained in a tent. And then you kind of waited in line, and then the doors open, then you walked in, and then you could leave anytime you want. But it was different. It was very much so like, no, like, oh, Comedy Bang Bang's here. Okay, now we're getting in line. We're waiting for this moment to come. Versus like you'd rather see. I mean, and the matches kind of suffer because of this, right? I mean, that Bianca Belair maybe that was a 5-minute match. Dawkins Gable was probably felt like even a little bit less, right? Because you're like, great, we have 10 minutes to change over the stage for the main event, for the main act. Let's do it, you know? Yeah.
They probably, all they cared about was the visual of just having the sea of people in the background.
Of course, right?
And they can just dub it with whatever audio they want after.
Of course. And then I guess maybe... maybe somebody, who knows? Maybe it got a couple more eyes on the product at the end of the day, but you'll never know.
Yeah. never know. Let's move back into the whatever arena they are in. Because backstage, Shotzi and Knox are trying to repair their tank. And Kevin Owens comes up to offer some help. But then the sad Baron Corbin walks up with his ketchup-stained shirt on and just looking like a mess, asking Owens for some advice. And he just says, man, you've been a jerk to everyone for so long. Corbin asks him for forgiveness, and Owens actually shows him some pity. Just hands him a wad of cash out of his wallet. Walks away. So just when Corbin gets a little bit of hope, Shotzi's tank fires the missile right into his groin. And he goes down. And then the dirty dogs come up and steal the money right from Corbin's hand. And Owens fends them off with a chair and checks on Corbin. So once again, I'm intrigued by this. But I feel like the crowd still does not care or does not like Corbin.
Yeah, well, yeah, give it a chance. You know, he sort of seems like he is the punching bag right now.
Yeah, I like this though. I like it. You know, Owens showing him a little bit of, I don't know, just having his back there for a minute.
Yeah,
we'll see. I just hope every week that shirt gets more and more stains on it.
Yeah, a little more stained as it goes.
Yeah. Then the Rated R superstar Edge comes out, cuts a promo on Rollins for interfering in his match, costing him the Universal title. So Seth comes out, gives his rebuttal, insults Cleveland and Edge, and eventually they come to blows. Edge hits his execution DDT, but Rollins retreats before he can get the spear on him.
Just Edge, you know, or sorry, rather Seth Rollins, you know, just that he's such a jerk.
Yeah, you know, I think we all know they're going to fight at SummerSlam, so it's just going to be a couple weeks of this back and forth.
Yes, exactly, right? And you know, and I feel like it's been such a long time. Edge hasn't won in a long time either, right? I mean, I think he won that greatest wrestling
Rumble?
match ever. I guess the Rumble, yeah. I was more thinking just sort of in a, you know, single or like, you know, a pinning type of situation.
Yeah, no, and who knows? They might add a stip to this if they just keep going at it. Maybe a cage match or last man standing. Who knows? Yeah,
something like that. But finally, that Iconolast shirt now makes sense.
Toni Storm, making her SmackDown debut, takes on Zelena Vega, who has only been back a few weeks and is already getting the jobber entrance. Not even shown on television. She's just there in the ring.
It's bizarre.
So that's usually not a good sign for what's going to happen next. So Vega gets a couple moves in, but Toni hits this really cool move I haven't seen her do before. It was like a judo throw into a cutter, and that gives Toni the win. So I'm happy for Toni, but why bring Vega back just to have her lose 3 in a row like this and not even look
I think
competitive?
they called it the Storm Zero.
That was her old finisher.
Oh, that was the old
they just
finisher?
Renamed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember that. I think I may have heard somebody say that. But yeah, so this is Zelena Vega's third match back since, she had her kind of return match against Liv Morgan, and then she was in the bank, Money in the Bank, and now this. So she's 0-3. Since then, has not won since September 2020 when she was, on the previous contract of hers. You are right. It's one of these things where I think us on the show, we've been big Zelena Vega fans because we were huge fans of the Vagabonds, right? And having like a very charismatic performer and then stripping her from what we liked about her in the first place just feels bizarre, maybe, even if, she's a, decent professional wrestler, but if her real talents are on the microphone, why isn't she on the microphone? Seems weird.
Yeah, I really thought she was going to go to AEW, and I thought that probably would have been the best fit. Especially now Aleister Black's there, Andrade's there, everyone that she's involved with. But, I guess she's just going to float on SmackDown for the next 6 months.
I mean, hey, clearly the money was enough that it was a great decision for her and her family, so.
Yeah. But, like I said, Toni Storm, still happy to see that at least she didn't lose her first match.
Yeah,
on SmackDown,
at least.
But let's move along here. Jimmy Uso taking on Dominic Mysterio. And just when you thought you could tell the Usos apart, goddamn Jimmy went and put some red dye in his hair. So now it's not as easy.
It used to be so easy, goddammit.
But anyways, the match itself was fine. You had Jay and Ray on the outside trying to get involved. Dominic hits the 619 and then the frog splash, but Jay fucks with him, distracts him. And then they do the same finish that they did to win the tag titles, where like Jimmy pins him and Jay pushes him from behind with the ropes. And so they get the win, or Jimmy gets the win.
And the Usos kind of building a momentum. They are the champions now, and build them up as being something that's really strong, too. It would be nice to see them maybe get some clean wins, especially if I think of groups that held all the gold, something like, like the Undisputed Era, or even the Hurt Business, right? Let's get some clean wins so it feels like they're dominant in the brand.
Yeah. Make the cheating the last resort when you look like you're going to get beat.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, Roman Reigns isn't cheating these days. He's just dominating.
Yeah. A guy like Dominic, you should be able to beat him clean. He's still pretty fresh, pretty green. But anyways, the big dog himself, Roman Reigns, comes out to give his response to John Cena. Just calls him a nostalgia act, and the crowd gives Roman the what treatment. But Roman just says, I have no desire to see you, and we are not going to see you in the main event of SummerSlam, because my answer to the challenge is no. So the crowd lets out a big boo, but then Finn Balor comes out, gets in the ring, says, if you're not interested in Cena's challenge, maybe you're interested in mine. And then the crowd turns around and gives a big yes chant. So it's nice to see that Finn is still over. And Reigns thinks about it. The crowd chants, Roman's scared. And then he finally says, challenge accepted, to end the show. So at this point, I'm like, Roman and Finn at SummerSlam? Surely this is a swerve, right? Cena's going to be in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it feels like obviously the bigger match is Cena, obviously. And we're not too far away from SummerSlam, I don't think. Yeah, not enough to have a match in the middle.
I mean, this Finn booking thing, unless they just kill Finn and he's not even at SummerSlam. But I mean, why even do this? I don't know. This just seems like a weird bump. I mean, Cena's gonna be in the main event, right? He has to be.
Okay, here's what I got right now. Here's what I got. They book it as a triple threat. Roman Reigns comes down to the ring. John Cena comes down to the ring. Finn Balor comes down to the ring. Before the match even starts, lights go out, come back on, the Fiend is there, takes out Finn, lights turn off, back on, and both of them are gone, making it a singles match between Roman and John Cena, and then we get the Fiend versus the Demon like we've always kind of known has been possible. I mean, Mike, you and I were there for the inception, or that first match of the Fiend, right, where he took on Finn Balor. That history would be there. I'm going to book that right now.
I like it.
I'm going to book that.
That's definitely. Yeah, that's one way to get.
And not only that, if that was your main event, like triple threat, you're like, okay, great, John Cena's there, and then in the main event of SummerSlam, the Fiend shows up after months of absence. Takes out I can see it. I can just see it popping off, and all those sorts of things. The lights go off. A big "let me in" comes back on. It's all in the cards.
It sounds good to me. You got it booked right there.
I booked it. Book it, Vince.
Well, that was the end of the official SmackDown. But apparently afterwards there was a dark match where John Cena was wrestling with the Mysterios against Roman and the Usos, and the good guys got the win.
Yo, I didn't know there was a dark match there, but there you have it.
Yeah, I'm sure the Uso took the pin, not Roman.
Yeah, I'm sure. And that was SmackDown. A weird show because the way we were cutting back and forth to the music festival, but way it's got to be sometimes, I guess.
Yeah. But let's just jump on over to the Monday. I mean, Monday, it's kind of universally known as the worst day of the week for a lot of people.
Monday is the worst day of the week. You got to go back to work.
Just ask Garfield. He hates Monday.
He hates loves lasagna.
And he's a cat. He doesn't have to do anything. Just lay around the house.
Yeah, he has, in theory, has no conception of the days of the week. But even he still hates Mondays. But let's move to it because it is Monday Night Raw.
Let's get raw. Let's get raw.
That's right. We're live from Kansas City.
Yeehaw.
And we open the show with new Raw Women's Champion Nikki Ash, who comes out, gets a nice pop. People are chanting for Nikki, and they give her the "You Deserve It" chant. So she's happy. I'm happy the crowd's down with Nikki. The superhero character could easily flopped, given the performer, but she's doing good.
It seems like this thing where and Nikki Ash comes out with this ultimate I had a dream and I never gave up, and as soon as I put on these clothes, I felt confident. All those things that super family friendly PG WWE is super supportive of. Yeah, Mike, we are in our late 20s and early 30s. We see something like this and think it's silly, right? But the 7-year-old kid who comes out with that I could be her. All I need to do is put my mind to it. I do really like that part of professional wrestling.
Yeah. No, I mean, and Nikki plays it well. She's into it, so that definitely helps. She gets it to work. But yeah, after she's done her thing, or in the middle of it, Charlotte Flair comes out to interrupt, gives her typical heel promo, just insulting Nikki and the crowd, and you stole my title with the Money in the Bank, so I want the rematch at SummerSlam. But then Rhea Ripley comes out, and she got a big pop. Maybe our first ever Rhea chant on Raw. So,
well, now that we've kind of turned her babyface, it seems a little bit easier to cheer for her.
Yeah, after that awkward last month. But
since April,
she gives
really.
Charlotte. Yeah, really. But she gives Charlotte a piece of her mind, tells Nikki that she wants the rematch. So Nikki just jumps in, says, "Neither of you can beat me. I'm going to lead the change of this division." And finally, Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville come out to settle this situation. And they officially announce we're getting a triple threat women's title match at SummerSlam. But Charlotte's still not happy, says, "I want a match tonight against Nikki Cross." Nikki says, "You're on." So we'll get that in our main event.
That'll be the main event. I mean, it's the Raw Women's title, so certainly it deserves to be the main event.
Well, it's implied. I mean, we'll see if it's for the title. But before that, we've got their new favorite type of match on Monday Night Raw, the Championship Contenders match, where you face the champion, and if you win, you get a title match, right?
Which makes sense. I mean, that's almost... I like that we got rid of the everybody automatically gets a rematch clause. I do like that. But exactly, yeah, if you do beat the champion, you should be the first in line.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. So Sheamus taking on Damien Priest here. And, yeah, I guess we haven't really seen too much of Priest since that whole zombie incident, so nice to see him back here.
Yeah, very much so.
Late in the match, he hits a big spinning heel kick, which knocks Sheamus's face shield right off with tremendous power there. So he's fighting naked, and he fights on, climbs to the top rope. Priest grabs him by the throat, and he walks Sheamus along the. Never seen Sheamus walk along the top ropes like that, but. Anyways, he gets choke slammed down, kicks out at 2.9. But then Priest fights back, hits him right in the exposed face, and then hits the Reckoning to get the win. So he earns a U.S. title shot.
You're in the shot. You're in the shot. You know, two big dudes in this one. You know, maybe we need to make up for lost time, you know, especially Damien Priest after WrestleMania. That push was sort of cut short. You know, I think there was a little bit of an injury there. And putting him in the hunt for that U.S. title is a good start.
Yeah, good spot for him to be in. Kind of get the crowd more used to him, warm up to him a bit.
I think I did see that Humberto Carrillo was on Main Event this past week, so I think it's safe to say that he's out of the picture.
Yeah, he had his shot, and now, we'll see him again in 8 months.
Yeah.
Or something. But we've got a real championship match. The Raw tag titles here being defended, of course, AJ Styles and Omos against the Viking Raiders. Similar to their previous match, the crowd just loves AJ and Omos. They're pretty much just baby faces now. They weren't even really trying to cheat or anything. AJ does most of the match. He gets beaten down, so Omos gets the hot tag, picks up Eric for a big stalling scoop slam, just walks him around the ring, and then he hits his big two-handed choke slam, tags in AJ to hit the springboard 450 splash, and they get the win, retain their belts.
And it really feels like the return of live crowds have made better use of Omos and AJ. Hell, maybe they were just kind of waiting for, the live crowds to return to really see how the audience would respond to it. And they're growing into a team, and it's been a fun ride. And AJ Styles is 44 years old and still does 450 splashes. Isn't that amazing?
He'll be doing them until he's 450 years old.
Honestly, he might be the first person to do as many rotations as he is age. As many degrees of rotation. Viking Raiders, they always look great, even if they lose. This won't be the last time that they put up a fight for these tag team championships either.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Then Jinder Mahal comes out with his new personal attorney, and they demand an apology from Drew, but he just says, no thanks, I'll just beat up your buddy, because Drew's taken on Veer. Nothing special. Jinder grabs a chair, causes the distraction, or eventually Jinder hands the Drew over to Veer, but then Drew claymores the chair into his face. The ref doesn't like that, calls a disqualification, but he gives the win to Drew, which, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I really need to check out the referee for this match, because of course these are the types of moments which lead to ref of the year when it comes to shooties. Those odd little choices. I actually think I have a few nominees already for me. It feels weird because I thought this rivalry was easier than you ruined my bike. I thought the rivalry was going to be like we were both in a faction together, we were both fired, and then we both came back and won the WWE Championship separately at different times. But like I thought that was the narrative that was kind of in place to be good.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, either way, to me, this is going to be one of my least cared about matches on SummerSlam, if that's what they're building for, Drew and Jinder. I just don't really care that much.
I mean, unless it is in that Punjabi prison, in which case...
that's the only way.
In which case, because I need them to... I'm what I'd be most looking forward to is the 14 and a half minutes that they need to explain the rules of the Punjabi... of that Punjabi prison match.
Well, that's it. I think afterward, Drew beats up his lawyer, so that might get him in some severe legal trouble.
Yeah, a bit of cheap heat there, though. But the crowd seems to like it. But yeah, it certainly seems like some kind of some kind of stipulation match is on the card for these two.
We'll see. But we go back to another championship contenders match. Eva Marie and Doudrop taking on Natalya and Tamina. But during the match, Natalya goes for like a crucifix, or I don't know, she rolled her foot, appears to injure herself legit. She kind of limps away, tags out for the rest of the match. So Eva and Doudrop, though, they weren't arguing as much. They were working together a bit. things are going well, but then in the middle of it all, the video screen, Lily appears, and Lily's doing a parody of the whole Eva Marie vignettes, the Lilylution. And this is where I learned that Lily is spelled with 3 L's.
Which I thought it was 2. That third L really took me out of the mix.
Well, it took Eva out of the mix as well, as she was too distracted. Turns around, Tamina hits her with a big super kick to get the win. And then Natalia's helped to the back by the medical staff and her partner, Tamina.
Yeah, hope she's all right, of course. Shit happens. Hopefully, not only does she recover soon, but hopefully this doesn't mean that those belts are in limbo.
Yeah, I mean, they're almost always in limbo, so hopefully not. But let's move on to the subject of the tweet of the week, Karrion Kross taking on Keith Lee, and Scarlett is still nowhere to be found, which I don't know. I think they are much better together than separate. Well, we've never even seen Scarlett on her own, have we?
No. I mean, I don't know if she's ever... Has she had a match even in NXT?
No, I don't think so.
I do not even know what her kind of chops are.
Yeah,
like.
I think she's trained.
She has her last match was August 15th, 2019. So almost
in NXT?
No,
not,
it was
in
something else, and then she was in AAA a little bit before that. Yeah, 2019 were her last matches. So I'm sure she's training down there at the PC to do something. I just really couldn't tell you, what's going down.
Well, either way, this match here, Kross suplexes Lee on the floor, gets him in the cross jacket, but Keith Lee's able to power out and break the hold. He goes for the Spirit Bomb, but Kross reverses it into a Saito suplex, and then he hits his big elbow to the back of the head. What is he called? The Doomsday?
I think so. Something like that.
Yeah, and then once again locks in the cross jacket, and this time Keith Lee taps out. So, I mean, it's good for Kross that he didn't lose again, but now Keith Lee has lost 2 in a row since coming back after like 8 months of being gone.
It's not so bizarre. Now, I did hear a little rumor train that this match was supposed to be a rematch with Jeff Hardy. But Jeff Hardy tested positive for COVID, so he will be out for the next little while. But I did also hear that Jeff Hardy was supposed to win this match, and that this was a very last-minute decision to make, was to put Keith Lee in there. And whenever I hear last minute and WWE, I always know the result is going to be the wrong one. And I'm always just like, but if it was last minute, why didn't they book literally anybody else? Anybody else if they wanted Karrion Kross to get the win. It seems weird that this is the first time that... I mean, we've had NXT superstars on the main roster before in smaller chunks. You know, Kevin Owens showed up that one time. Of course, Paige showed up in a glorious fashion. But it seems weird that now this is 2 weeks in a row of this happening with no real, like... You know, it doesn't seem like there's a purpose.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
What the hell they're doing.
I honestly do not know. Clearly, Vince likes him because he's big. And
this match was like a lose-lose.
Him.
Yeah. But then, why did last week even happen with Jeff Hardy? Who knows?
Yeah, it seems very bizarre, but yeah, I think, Karrion Kross going to the main roster sooner rather than later, and then, I mean, who knows how those contracts work either, right? Maybe if having you on the main roster means you got to pay Karrion Kross and Scarlett more money, and then Vince might just say, actually, we don't need, the eye candy, we just want... the other eye candy. To Vince, I think Karrion Kross is more eye candy than Scarlett. I think. But yeah, and also maybe trying to avoid that odd lip syncing thing that they'll need to kind of sort out with Scarlett.
She might need to start wearing the in-ear monitors like Rick Boogs.
And then actually
Your
sing?
timing, right. Well, no, probably not that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we've got some tag team action. Mustafa Ali and Mansoor taking on Mason T-Bar. And this match actually surprised me. It ended up being pretty good for what it was. Mustafa Ali was taking some big bumps, got the crowd going, kind of turned his team into the baby faces. He was helping out Mansoor. And, Ali hit this big suicide dive into a DDT on the floor. And Mansoor springboards into the ring. Mace catches him, but then Mansoor turns it into a victory roll and gets a 3 count. So that's a huge win. Got to give him. This match was, kind of nothing on paper, and I don't know, ended up being pretty fun. Crowd was into it.
It was quick. It was probably less than
it was short.
Probably less than 5 minutes, but showing Mustafa Ali and Mansoor's partnership. Mason T-Bar, it's like every week they're being repackaged. Now, this week, their most recent repackaging was somewhere between the Ascension and the Road Warriors.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle there. God, it's almost hard to remember some of those fun Dominik Dijakovic moments from what feels like years past now. I couldn't even tell you, is he Mace or T-Bar? I don't even know anymore. But
doesn't matter.
It honestly doesn't. Dominik Dijakovic, who we lost that name mid-July of last year, I think, probably mid-summer was when that happened. Around this time last year was when he kind of lost that name. I don't know.
Oh.
Has there ever been, question for you though, has there ever been or in old WWE, WCW, whatever, like a cruiserweight tag? Has that ever existed?
Cruiserweight tag belt?
Yes.
Not in those promotions.
Not in one of the
Maybe
major
like Japan
promotions?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just
Maybe in
curious,
Japan
guys like Mustafa Ali and Mansoor, guys who would be on that like 205 Live crowd. Just wondering if they had an objective, a goal to shoot for.
Yeah. Well, they can still hope for the
of
Raw
course, they
tag
can hope for
titles.
the for the normal ones.
Yeah, but Bobby Lashley and MVP come out to address the challenge from Goldberg, and Bobby says he won't even dignify with a response. But then former members Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander comes out, followed by Shelton. They both kind of they want a piece of the champ. So Lashley says, I'll take them both on, same time. And that just jumps right into a handicap match. So Lashley just dominates the two of them, hits a big spear, and then the jackhammer on Shelton. And then he hits the Dominator on Cedric, slamming him down onto Shelton. So pins the two of them at the same time. Looking almighty as he is.
Yeah, so remember, they had their breakup a long time ago, and then I think Bobby Lashley definitely had individual bouts with both Shelton and Cedric, and now having that handicap match. I think he seems to have a lot of these handicap matches, or maybe he just feels like he does sometimes. The crowd, though, still super behind, or this crowd, rather, is super behind Goldberg. Sometimes some of MVP's promo is being drowned out with some of those Goldberg chants. And Mike, as a man who's seen Goldberg twice now, once in action and then once just to give a couple spears to Dolph Ziggler, is he?
Well, that was a match. Was
that a match?
And then he came back after he won.
Oh,
and hit him some more.
yeah. When Dolph Ziggler was saying, like, I'm not done or something like that. And it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I saw Goldberg. It is fun to do the Goldberg chant. But I wonder almost if it's like, Mike, are you doing you specifically, are you doing the Goldberg chant because it's fun to do or because you want to see him wrestle?
I guess a bit of both. Mm-hmm. I do have some nostalgia. Not that I was ever a huge Goldberg fan, but I guess part of it is being caught up in the moment. And once he actually enters the building, everyone's hyped up. It does get you kind of excited.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but it's a bit of both.
It is a bit of both. And the crowd, wherever we were on this night, really did seem to be behind Bill Goldberg. It really does seem like for all the hate that he gets, no matter where you go, he is cheered. He is liked.
I mean, yeah, exactly. The online wrestling community is loud, but still a very small portion of the overall audience.
Yeah.
But, there still are hardcore crowds. If he was in, like, Chicago or New York or something, it might be split. But
Yes.
anyways, we go backstage where AJ and Omos approach Miz and Morrison for some kind of proposition. But Omos just stands in the way, so we can't hear what they're talking about.
So that means something.
But they got to head to the ring because Riddle is taking on John Morrison, America's Most Wanted. That they're going with it. But yeah, great babyface reaction for Riddle. He's coming out, lots of fist bumps into the crowd. They got signs for him. So as we predicted, people love Riddle. Crowds love Riddle.
Yeah, it really seemed like a no-brainer. His fun personality. Mike, this also, I think it was during this matchup I noticed it, or like during these entrances I noticed it, but it may have been happening throughout the rest of the evening. There seems to be some kind of new animated robot mascot that kind of flies around in that like superimposed CGI way, when it's like, right during the entrances and all that. Kind of looks like Eva from the female robot in WALL-E. It kind of has like a little bit of a had a bit of a vibe like that. It kind of floated around, had a head with like like a
robot.
A robot, yeah. So keep that, keep an eye out for that because Fox, of course, has the has that
the football
the actual football one that we know from football games, and who knows, our robot could be back.
Yeah, no, I did see him throughout the show. But yeah, of course. So Riddle's taking on Morrison. You have Miz on the outside, squirting Riddle with the dripstick. So Riddle turns around, hits him with a huge kick to the face, just knocking him out of his wheelchair. And then, Riddle hits a nice springboard floating bro to Morrison on the floor. But then AJ and Omos come out. Riddle's in control of the match, climbs to the top rope. But then Omos just picks up Riddle's scooter and breaks it over his knee. So this distracts Riddle. He's very upset. Morrison picks him up, hits this weird like spin out crucifix slam, and then the Starship Pain to get the win.
Wow.
Yeah, so big win for Morrison. And right after AJ Omos, they jump in, beat Riddle down, hit him with the Styles Clash. Everyone's waiting for Randy Orton to come out. But he's still nowhere to be found.
Still nowhere to be found, maybe, and surprising for AJ and Omos, considering how their response has been the past couple of weeks, right? We almost thought of them as maybe being babyface contenders, right? Babyface champions. Maybe with a little less maybe fewer distractions, maybe a couple more minutes. This could have been totally match of the night. These two guys are both just like incredible athletes.
They've been carrying the mid-card these last couple months.
Yeah, they honestly have, especially with The Miz out of action. John Mo, gets the odd win over people, but, this seemed like a bigger win than usual.
Yeah, and it didn't hurt Riddle too much because of all the shenanigans and... it's just making the crowd. When Orton does pop, or when he comes back, he's going to get a huge pop to save Riddle and set up the SummerSlam tag title match, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Because that'll be a hot match.
I think so.
But not a hot match is coming up next because it's the 24/7 title. But we got the new champ, Reginald, defending against the cornerstone of the division, R-Truth. But, I will say Reggie had a cool entrance as he runs down to the ring. He bounces off a hidden trampoline, so it looks like he just jumps off the floor, hits a perfect sideways flip, landing in the ring.
Yeah, didn't Sin Cara used to do that, or one of the Lucha House Party?
Yeah, Sin Cara did, but his wasn't quite as cool.
Oh, okay,
his was like a somersault. Yeah, this was better. Truth was even impressed, and he wrestled the whole match with a headset microphone on, just reacting to Reggie doing all his stunts.
Yeah, almost like somebody else did that also. Remember when Leo Rush would just like be talking during the entire... So that's pretty much it. Reggie's just flipping around. He hits his little senton, gets the 3 count
to retain. The Gable comes running after him, and Reggie hits another huge flip over the top rope to the floor, this time landing on his feet. No trampoline. That's got to be bad for the knees. But he escapes with his title. So, I mean, at the very least, it's something slightly new for the 24/7 division.
Yeah, slightly different. That was a cool little flip out at the end. Certainly his acrobaticisms are very impressive. But yeah, to take up time with the 24/7 championship is always for me a little like that was time that could have gone towards something else. But I don't know. Was the what was the other one? The hardcore championship. Was it defended on a basis, or was it still that like anytime, anywhere? Or was there ever like this is a match?
Yeah, it was both. It started off as just only matches, and then they added the 24/7 rule.
And then it seemed like it was mostly something that was like for house shows.
Yeah, I mean, it was still they cared about it a lot more than the 24/7 title. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Like you could have it in the middle of a WrestleMania, and people would get excited.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, good to know.
The Undertaker held it at one point, so that tells you something.
So that's going to put a little bit of prestige behind it, yeah.
Yeah. Some top guys, Mick Foley, Undertaker, Jeff Hardy. So
yeah.
It was all over the place. Way better than the 24/7.
Okay.
But let's go to the main event here. We got I was confused because earlier in the show it made it sound like it was going to be for the title, but it's actually not. They call it a championship contenders match, but it's not really that either because Charlotte's already got a title shot. So I'm like, what the hell is this match? It's just Charlotte versus Nikki Ash, right?
Yeah, I was also a bit confused, and I didn't want to go back to see what it was. It was just kind of like, okay, I guess it almost felt like something that maybe we heard properly the first time, and then they just sort of retconned, and backstage changes, and then it's like, okay, we're just forget about this.
Yeah, I don't know, but either way, the match itself was fine, just going back and forth. Nikki, even though she's the champ, she still feels like the underdog. Charlotte's just smacking her, bunch of chops, turning her chest red, but Nikki fights back. Hits some of those high-flying moves, goes for the crossbody off the top rope, but Charlotte catches her, rolls through into the pin, and gets a 3 count. So at the end of the day, I'm glad this wasn't for the title. But still, I don't know. This was weird. Nikki Ash on this hot streak, and now she loses, even though she didn't lose the belt. Just felt kind of, I don't know. This whole match didn't need to happen. We're already getting it.
And this was her first match since winning the championship, right?
Yeah.
Because she wins the Money in the Bank. The very next night, she cashes in. I know they were doing some live shows this past week where, she got the wins. But, yeah, it feels like a scary move to have her lose in her very, very, very first match.
Yeah. And then afterwards, Charlotte gets interviewed and just mocks Nikki, but Nikki grabs the mic and just cuts a babyface promo, and I can beat you, challenges her to a rematch next week. Charlotte says, you got it, but then sucker punches Nikki and beats her up in front of the fan in the front row who's got the Nikki Ash sign. Charlotte stands tall to end the show.
Charlotte's still doing one hell of a job. Still can't blame her. Can't blame her for her booking.
It's I guess I can't, but
nope.
No, at the very least, Nikki Ash has closed out Raw 2 weeks in a row, so they see a lot in her. At least I hope. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see. Who knows? It'd be nice to see her make her way through SummerSlam. We don't know what's going to happen. Mike, should we take a break?
Yes. Just one other thing.
Oh, okay.
Much like SmackDown. Just to mention, because there was also a dark match featuring John Cena on Monday Night Raw.
Oh.
Where he teamed up with Riddle to defeat Mason T-Bar.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, fun for the crowd. Cena seems to like Riddle. They had their little bro down. And
now, how do dark matches work in terms of kind of overall win-loss record? Is a dark match or a house show kind of put in like a separate category?
I guess so. I mean, not that they really keep the stats. Certainly a dark match, I think, doesn't really count for anything.
Yeah, like I think maybe when they count things, it's like stuff that's on television.
Yeah,
That's sort of like what they look for. And
in the sake, sometimes if it's to their advantage, like Goldberg's streak, they would count all the house show matches.
Yeah,
So
well,
you
of
could rack
course.
up 5 wins in a week.
Well, yeah, of course. If it's to their advantage, WWE will do anything. So that makes sense.
But yes, let's take a break here. Come back with the second half.
That sounds great. We're going to come back with the second half because we have more NXT action. We, of course, have Fight for the Fallen over on AEW Dynamite, so you're going to want to stick around.
It's going to get crazy.
Let's shoot, yeah, let's shoot, yeah, let's shoot, brother, brother, yeah, let's shoot, yeah, let's shoot, yeah, let's shoot, brother, brother, yeah.
Back here with the second half of the Shoot Brothers Wrestling Podcast. Thanks for sticking it out through the break. We covered our main roster WWE action. Of course, SummerSlam is coming up. It's a few weeks away, but it will still be here sooner than you can shake a stick at. But let's move over to another side of the rosters, right? Because there's shit going on all the time, and just the night after SummerSlam. That is correct. Our baby brother brand will be competing themselves with a brand new takeover. So let's get to some NXT action.
NXT, what does it mean? I don't know, but it's some good wrestling. So NXT, watch and see. Gotta tap out a count out of 1, 2, 3. So
NXT moved over to the Sci-Fi channel this week due to Olympic Games coverage on the USA Network. And I also learned that both this week and next week's NXT are both pre-tapes. Maybe to do with something to do with that that move over from USA with the Olympics.
Yeah, so watch out for spoilers. Don't click on anything you don't want to know.
It is nice to see though that it was like a month of the NBA. The NBA playoffs was like a month of AEW being on a weird schedule and things like that. And it's nice to know that that's not exclusive to TNT and to AEW, right? That shit happens, and then you have to work around it. So that's about that. So yeah, let's get to this week's episode of NXT, because of course we are building towards Takeover 36, which will probably...
It's weird.
What's
There's
weird?
only like... most of them have names, but there's been like... I mean, Takeover 30 makes sense, but wasn't there like another one that was just a random number?
There was a couple of those in your houses.
Well, those are something.
Those
but
were
like
something completely
36 is
different,
just a
and then
random
30
number.
was one. But I guess since certainly since we're just here at the Capitol Wrestling Center, it seems weird that we would give it a name, or normally takeovers like Takeover Toronto, Takeover New York, but now that it's like Takeover Capitol Wrestling Center, just doesn't have the same kind of ring to it. But we need to start booking that card because it is now 3.5 weeks away, and this week's episode of NXT actually kicks off with some tag team action. What is this, Wednesday night?
It used to be. But yes, we get Tommaso Ciampa, Timothy Thatcher taking on Pete Dunne and One Lorcan. So, four real technical submission style wrestlers here that mesh well together.
Mm-hmm.
So, good match, hard hitting. Thatcher's got Lorcan in this ankle lock outside the ring when Ridge Holland makes his return, attacking Thatcher. And, we last saw him with that gruesome leg injury from last year.
Yeah, I think, somewhere in the fall. I think he took like a moonsault when he was just
took
on
a big
the floor.
bumper trying to catch someone on the floor.
Yeah, it was a
and his leg just went
freakish
up.
accident, but clearly worked incredibly hard to get himself back into ring-ready shape.
Yeah, But this leaves Ciampa on his own, and back in the ring, Dunn hits him with the bitter end, gets the win for these British bruisers, whatever we call
The
them.
Brits. You know, a little bit of a bummer to see Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher take a step back, especially because I want them in the fucking tag title scene, quite frankly.
Yeah, we've always got support for the Thatch man on this show.
You know it.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I remember at one point Pat McAfee was involved with this group. Or he was the one that brought Ridge Holland in. Or something.
He was certainly the one who brought him into their faction before War Games. You know, Pat McAfee now has other priorities. He can't be doing it all for WWE.
Yeah, but they had plans for Ridge Holland, so we'll see if they just kind of pick up and I don't know.
I mean, the NXT roster is mostly has not changed since October, right? I mean, Keith Lee has been gone. He left before that. Other than like just firing Velveteen Dream, it seems like the roster is actually pretty much the exact same. Just, you know, rivalries and things have maybe split off a little bit.
Yeah, mostly. One thing that they didn't have was Samoa Joe, who comes out next, and he does himself. He sets up the whole thing. He goes under the ring, pulls out a mini table and a regular sized chair, and he's got a contract, and we have an impromptu contract signing. As Samoa Joe says he knows Cross isn't here tonight, so Mr. Regal, please join me in the ring. And Mr. William Regal, he comes out. Joe says he knows that your plans are to fire Karrion Kross for attacking you last week, but Joe says he's got a better solution. 3-step program here. So step 1, you sign this paper that I officially quit NXT management. And then step 2, you sign this one that says I'm reactivated as part of the active roster. So Regal hesitates, but then he signs the paper, and the crowd pops big for that. And the final step 3, he says, sign this one to make it official. Karrion Kross versus Samoa Joe for the NXT title at TakeOver 36. So Regal signs that, and looks like we have our main event. Let's go, Joe.
Just like that. And this is Karrion Kross, Samoa Joe for that NXT Championship is the type of money match that I don't think NXT has had in a long time. If not possibly ever. I mean, the past 3-4 years of NXT has been filled with, you know, these incredibly highly athletic matches, right? Got, you know, near falls, slapping legs, destroyers, these sorts of things. But I don't think we've ever really had a big bad guy versus big bad guy, especially two who are submission specialists. In that same kind of way also. I mean, Keith Lee, Karrion Kross really didn't have the... Wait, was that a match?
Yeah.
That really didn't have the gravitas of, you know, the two big men meeting in the ring. The way that maybe we haven't seen since... I mean, I wouldn't even call Bobby Roode, Drew McIntyre. I wouldn't even call that like two big men. No. You know, like this is a very rare, unique opportunity for NXT, and Samoa Joe is just fucking terrifying when he's angry.
Yeah, and I think Samoa Joe, he still moves the needle. Like people that don't watch NXT might watch this because Samoa Joe's back after such a long time not wrestling.
And it's amazing though that WWE main roster does never cross promotes NXT. It is amazing to me that they don't ever say, because all you need on Monday Night Raw is just one next Tuesday, or, you know, check out this Saturday on Peacock, where former Raw commentary Samoa Joe will be taking on Karrion Kross. They never say shit like that. Over on AEW, there's a fucking ticker that just shows you the dark results. Like, I feel like they
didn't even mention NXT once when Kross was fighting, did they?
Not
he
even.
Was fighting the match.
Just the fact that he had the belt and that he was NXT champion. Not like he gets a win over Keith Lee, and then all you need is for fucking Saxton to go, if you like that, check out USA Network tomorrow night. He'll be there also. It's amazing that they don't cross promote, especially when AEW does that so well. they'll cut to a quick highlight from Dark Elevation, or it's mostly the same commentary team. They make comments about these things. There's the ticker that will show you results from YouTube aired shows. It's a real super missed opportunity if you really want to talk about moving the needle.
I mean, yeah, definitely they should do more to promote this because he's back. Samoa Joe, it's official. I think we're all hyped.
Yeah, this will be a war for the ages.
Yeah, could be the match of the weekend, that's for sure.
Yeah, it could be. Well, it is SummerSlam weekend, and we have some high hopes.
We then go to the golf course where Cameron Grimes is caddying for LA Knight, but he doesn't know much. He doesn't know which clubs are which, but he's making these side bets with him. Like $5,000 you're going to hit the tree, $5,000 you're going to put it in the water, things like that. But yeah, so eventually he's just getting on his nerves, so he tells Grimes to go fetch his ball from the water when $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase rolls up in his $1 million golf cart. And he's just like, "What are you doing, kid? You're a mess. You're much better than this. You weren't born to be a butler. You're born to be a champion. Don't lose your pride. I know you're a fighter." So that kind of nice inspirational speech for Grammy there. But then the grizzled young veterans pull up and they start some trouble. So they make a bet. Who can sink the ball next for $20,000? Grimes takes a turn. He winds up, nails Knight in the balls, and hits him in the head during his swing. But he sinks it. Hole in one. But yeah, that was kind of your whole golf. They split it into 3 parts, but I told you.
Yeah, and you culminated it. Thank you for doing that. Of course, this was the first time that we've been on a WWE golf course, I believe, since the Viking Raiders and Street Profits had their little, they kept playing different sports back to back. You remember that? And this landed so much better than that entire other segment did. It's a lot of fun. This LA Knight Cameron Grimes thing, although they're not wrestling, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, before this feud, LA Knight, I mean, he was good, but this is getting him better. Now I have a reason to hate him.
Yeah, I think when LA Knight first came in, we were worried, oh no, they're going to rocket him to the top. And I thought he was going to win. There was that North American championship ladder match. I thought he was going to win that. I'm like, yeah, this is the dude who you put in the spotlight. And then along comes Cameron Grimes, then Ted DiBiase, and they make this work. It's like, hey, you can put somebody in the spotlight without them being one of the main guys. This $1 million championship is working out perfectly.
Yeah, so hopefully soon we'll just get that rematch booked for TakeOver.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
But we got this NXT breakout tournament still. So Carmelo Hayes takes on Josh Briggs. Briggs was big. Hayes was high flyer. Eventually Briggs hits a huge big boot, turns him inside out, followed by another big choke slam. But Hayes kicks out of that and has his big comeback, hits a leg drop off the top rope onto the back of Briggs' neck, and that gets him to 3.
Now, not only do I think this was I think this might have been my favorite of these, or the best match of this little tournament to date, but I think it was also the longest. You need time to like people. Right? You can't. It's hard to like 2 guys in 5 minutes. Seeing what both people have to do, there are some great kickouts, some great boots here in this one. Now, they haven't been showing us a bracket or anything like that, but I can only imagine that this will, or hopefully, maybe this will culminate at TakeOver 36, even if it is just with a match that fills time on the card. But I think the tournament deserves to finish strongly.
Yeah. No, I think they did flash the bracket briefly.
Oh, they did?
This.
Okay.
And, Carmelo Hayes is going to face, what's his name? The Vink, whatever his new name is. Brandon Vink.
Brandon Vink!
I forget. Yeah, I already forget.
Yeah.
But anyways, Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai come out, and Raquel just cuts a promo about how she's dominated the division this past while, and, who's next? And then Dakota grabs the mic and just puts her over, calls her Big Mommy Cool, a play on the Diesel nickname. She says, "You will always be champion as long as I have your back." But then she turns around and stabs her in the back with a huge kick to the face, picks up the NXT title, and lays it over the fallen Raquel. So, looks like we've got our TakeOver Women's title match, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, Dakota Kai has been in and out, with injuries, but because of that, has spent a long time in the shadows of NXT, right? So we're hoping, this is going to be good. Raquel Gonzalez has looked super dominant the past almost year. But it still does feel possible that Raquel Gonzalez will lose. Also putting her, I think Raquel Gonzalez at least, in the sole babyface position here of this matchup.
So you think Raquel will be the babyface?
I think so.
Yeah, because Dakota it was a heel move turning on her, but part of me thinks that they're going to make Dakota the babyface.
I would love to see that too. I would also love to see that, but
yeah, because who knows? I feel like the crowd's going to cheer for Dakota, the hardcore takeover crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see.
Well, I mean, that being said, though, it is only whatever they can fit at that Capitol Wrestling Center. It's not like it's
for takeover. Is it not at a crowd?
No, I think it's still at the CWC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or at least as it is right now.
No, I guess it probably is. Then they would have had to start selling tickets.
So yeah, it can only get so big.
We'll see then. But in the meantime, some women's tag action. Casey Catanzaro, Kaden Carter taking on Frankie Monet and Jessie Kamea. And they still got Robert Stone hanging around. And in the middle of the match, he just throws a wallet at Frankie for her to use, but it just hits her. And that allows Carter to get a hold of her and hit the neck breaker as Casey does the 450 splash. And Team Casey gets the win.
Is Frankie Monet even getting wins? It sort of seems, I guess she is. This might have been her first loss. But it seems to be the story each week that, her abilities aren't there, and then she either wins in a squash against nobody, or then I guess here there's some kind of wallet interference. It'd be nice to see, because apparently this competitor, she's been around the world doing this shit.
I mean, they hyped her up a long time with all those promos, but they don't give her a whole lot of in-ring time.
She is an Impact Women's Champion. She is a AAA Women's Champion, former, right? And so it'd be nice for us to see that version where she does exist instead of just this kind of slightly comedic booking.
Yeah. And we haven't seen Presley in weeks.
Well, I'm sorry, Mike. We might not never see him again.
That's okay.
Well, let's get into the next match of the evening, right? I guess after Frankie Monet left, we did get some tag team action.
Imperium taking on the Hit Row, Shanti the Adonis and Top Dollar. Imperium hanging there for a while, but Hit Row take over the match until Legado come out and they attack, but Top Dollar, he goes after them, but ends up leaving Ashanti the Adonis all alone. Imperium hit the double powerbomb and steal the win. Big upset.
Big upset over a group that's been, performing very, very well. To lose momentum so early.
Yeah, and especially, Imperium haven't really done anything since they lost the belt. They lost a member of their group to releasing, and weird booking decision here.
Weird booking decision, but maybe acting as a unofficial number one contenders match of sorts, right? MSK needing a challenger for that takeover. Maybe a hard-fought win like this one is what maybe punches Imperium. Excuse me. Oh my God. What punches Imperium's ticket to be those challengers?
Maybe, but that's not my match. I want to see MSK versus Imperium. Doesn't do a lot.
Hey man, I'm just trying to. I'm just booking the card. I'm just booking the card.
No, this was just unusual. Yeah, this was unusual. This is more of a Monday Night Raw booking decision than an NXT.
Oh, okay. Yeah, possibly.
Anyways, one thing that they did announce that I'm very excited for is that Walter will be defending his NXT UK title against Ilya Dragunov at TakeOver 36. And they had one of the best matches of the year last year, so I'm looking forward to that quite a bit.
Yeah, certainly. It wasn't like a 5.25, 5.25, I think.
Yeah, I gave it 5 stars.
So yeah, I mean, if that's the rematch, bring it on.
Bring it on. But the main event for this show is Bronson Reed taking on Adam Cole. Yeah, good match. Nothing really, no real stakes here. Nothing on the line. Bronson Reed's kind of, I think a lot of us figured he drops that North American title pretty quick. Maybe getting called up, but hasn't happened yet. Which may or may not be for his benefit. I don't know.
Yeah, still nobody knows.
Yeah, but the wrestling was good. Adam Cole manages to hit a fucking Panama Sunrise on the massive Reed. Maybe one of the biggest Panama Sunrises ever seen. But he kicks out of that. He fights back, climbs up the rope to go for Wade Barrett's favorite move, the Tsunami. But Cole avoids that, hits him with the last shot to get the win. But he doesn't have much time to celebrate because Kyle O'Reilly comes out, attacks from behind with a chair, and then brainbusters him onto the steel steps. Stands tall over the Cole
Woof.
at the end of the show. But is this a heel move by Kyle O'Reilly?
I really don't know. I mean, hell, I think after whatever their last matchup was, I thought that this was the end of O'Reilly Cole. But no, it seems like TakeOver will be maybe the climax, or maybe Johnny Gargano, or maybe Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly are just going to be the next Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, where it's like, give him one more. Give him one more. But I think more importantly, yeah, you're right. The uncertainty of what Bronson Reed's future is. It's nice to see him get a few more big matches before heading to one of the main roster brands. People can struggle on the main roster when they don't have that smaller NXT spotlight. So maybe, he could have used a win, but giving him a great match is just as good, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine, but I guess the whole point of it was the ending there with Cole getting laid out, and but yeah, Cole beat Kyle fair and square last time, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is the babyface turn for Adam Cole because everyone loves him anyways. I mean,
he's going to be super over no matter what, so it's hard to say. He makes a great heel. He makes a great babyface. It's really hard to say.
Yeah. But that was NXT.
Yeah, that was the whole NXT show. So no spoilers, folks, because it was pre-taped, I heard. I also have not spoiled. I just heard that it was pre-taped and then tried to, put on my horse blinders, as it were.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Wednesday night then, shall we? Because we are unaffected by the NBA playoffs. We are unaffected by the Tokyo Olympics. So let's just get ahead to some AEW Dynamite.
AEW. All Elite. They coming for you, Vince. Better watch out. It's too sweet.
Fight for the Fallen, the third year of this charity show. And they've been telling us for a couple weeks now. We already know what the big match is going to be. We have this massive 10-man tag between Adam Hangman Page and members of the Dark Order taking on the entirety of the Elite. The IWGP US title is on the line, and just last week, to close off the show, we got the news of Labor 2 of the 5 Labors of Jericho, a no-rules match between Chris Jericho and the King of the Deathmatch, Nick Gage, which will certainly be our main event. So if that's the main event, that means the show has to kick off with the other biggest match of the week, which is that 10-man tag elimination match So that kind
Yeah.
of Survivor Series rules. We have Adam Hangman Page, Alex Reynolds, Evil Uno, John Silver, and Stu Grayson taking on Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. And the Dark Order come out in a hybrid Dark Order cowboy type of getup. Hangman gets a cool little pre-taped promo or pre-taped video package.
I love. They all had matching purple bandanas. They all posed together. They were fully united.
The crowd was hot for this intro and for the entire match. And then on the other side, the Elite and Don Callis come out doing their best Space Jam impression, Space Jam 2 in theaters now. They are the Elite squad. They come out with basketballs. Y'all ready for this? In a really fun introduction. Kenny Omega.
So
what are you gonna say?
Is the y'all ready for this? Is that Space Jam's theme song? They own that song?
No, I don't think it's like their theme song. It was just like a song from the 90s that they used a lot.
Okay, because I know they played it, like on all the hockey games. So
exactly, it was just like a 90s thing. But if Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, they've done this before. They love having fun with their intros.
Oh, every week they're wearing different
Whether
outfits.
it be a new song, a new outfit, some kind of inspired by a video game or movie thing. It's a lot of fun. And even Don Callis was getting in on the action. He was wearing gym shorts, but then with old man high socks. He was looking great. Of course, he came out on commentary for the match.
Have you watched the new Space Jam?
No, I probably won't.
Or any plans?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
No.
I don't really care. And I've heard bad things.
I mean, it honestly can't be worse than the first one, so...
Why not? The first one's at least nostalgic a little bit.
Yeah.
Not that it's very good.
It's worse than not very good. But we're not... This isn't a
What, you
movie.
did?
This is not a movie podcast. This is a professional wrestling podcast where we have the Elite taking on these members. So there are stips, though. So if Adam Hangman Page and the Dark Order are able to win, then both Adam and a tag team of the Dark Order will have championship opportunities against Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks.
Yeah, so a lot on the line here. But if they lose, they're not allowed to challenge for the titles. I don't think ever, but I think at least against the current group of Elite or whatever. At least that's what they said.
That's what they said a couple weeks ago.
They didn't say it tonight.
Now, I don't
It might have
remember
been swept
them
under
saying that tonight.
Yeah, they didn't say it tonight. But anyways, 10 men here, fast-paced, nonstop action. We have a bunch of bumps off the top rope, a superplex to the floor. The first elimination, Anderson rolls up Reynolds, grabs the trunks for the cheap 3 count. But pretty soon after that, Anderson gets hit with the fatality, so he's eliminated himself. And like you said, Dark Order, crowd's loving everything they do. Stu Grayson ended up being one of the MVPs of this match. He hits this insane sky twister press where he just springboards and just spins his body like 1080 degrees at a super high speed and lands hard on the floor. Looked like he hit his head. I don't know. Crashed hard. But, later on, they fight into the crowd. Stu, once again, he jumps off the balcony, taking out Doc Gallows. But both men are still legal, and they're so far from the ring, they get counted out, double count out. So, puts us down to 3-on-3 at this point. Then I think Evil Uno, goes up against Omega, gets hit with the one-winged angel, so he's out. John Silver comes in, starts running wild. He hits one of the best airplane spins I've seen on Matt. He just launched him, sent him flying. I didn't think he was going to come back down. He had such propeller. But anyways, Silver gets triple teamed. The Bucks hit him with an Indie Taker on the floor. They set up a basketball net, and Nick tried to slam dunk a ball while doing the Indie Taker, but the ball missed.
The ball missed, but and if any consolation, when they were coming down to the ring, they were taking shots on the same hoop. They sunk all of them. So it was they hit the shots but missed the dunk. I don't know. It would have been fun if it did happen.
Would have been cool.
They get dunked on.
We all knew.
But whatever.
It was still a cool move.
Yeah. And not too many people, gave him a "you fucked up" or something like that.
Yeah. His hands hit the rim. It was just the ball bounced off.
It was slippery.
Professional basketball
these guys
players
are covered with oil. What do you expect?
Yeah, we've seen the pros. Pros have missed a dunk when they're all alone. It happens once in a while.
Of course, it happens to the pros.
Yeah. So, anyways, they throw Silver back in the ring, hit him with a PTE trigger. So he's gone. Hangman is now alone against 3 other guys. He gets face to face with Kenny, who then spits in his face, showing his classless. And then, they just triple team Hangman, super kick party all over the place. But he puts up a hell of a fight. He hits a double buckshot lariat, taking out both Bucks. Pins Matt to eliminate him. But then Kenny runs in, tries to hit him with the title belt. The ref stops him. They hand Kenny another belt, but then Hangman picks him up for the Deadeye. Or he hits the Deadeye, but Kenny kicks out of that at the last second. So Page sets up for another buckshot lariat, but Nick grabs his leg on the floor. And as the ref turns to yell at Nick, Kenny hits Page in the face with the belt, chucks it away, makes the cover, but Page kicks out of that. So the crowd is in a frenzy. Kenny is furious, hits Page with a couple of V-triggers, and then the one-winged angel. And that's it. Gets the pin. Wins the match for the Elite.
Wow.
The crowd is stunned.
This and what was fucking wild, chaotic, story-heavy, and probably one of the best television matches, one of the better television matches you will ever see in wrestling. Really was, and if this was, if that stip that we had mentioned earlier that they didn't really mention this week about, Hangman Page's championship opportunity, hey, losing in a 3-on-1 or 2-on-1 situation, I don't know, that could be cause for some kind of title, like a shot to earn an opportunity again, because All Out is, I honestly don't know when, but end of August. So we are probably only a month away from it. Sorry, beginning of September. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if whether or not they do stick to that step I mentioned, because as of right now, Page can't fight Kenny for the belt, which we all thought would be the All Out main event. But now with all these other crazy rumors going around, I mean, would you just throw a CM Punk against Omega right away, and that's your title match?
No, that's too much.
I know, but if Page can't fight Kenny, what are they going to do?
Yeah, I wonder who gets to fight Kenny. Who's the first? Okay, so out of anybody rumored or officially signed to the company, who is the most likely now on kicking out of the one-winged angel? Because somebody's going to do it eventually.
Yeah,
and I
think it would be Hangman Page.
I feel like the biggest pop would be Hangman Page kicking out of it. That would be the biggest thing.
Yeah.
That would literally be...
So, I mean, they still got a couple weeks. They can
Of course, but if Hangman Page in some opportunity in a championship match kicks out of the one-winged angel, that is literally 2 years of Dynamite or 3 years of Dynamite building up to that one moment. Like, of your homebred star, young guy kicking out of the most protected move for the last, 5 years probably?
Something like that.
It'd be great to see. Hangman Page is still my pick for All Out. He's my pick to kick out of that one-winged angel. And just, despite whatever rumors are going on.
Yeah, exactly. We've got about a month and a bit. We'll figure this all out. But then the new FTW champ, Ricky Starks, comes out for his celebration. They've got a live New Orleans jazz band. Were they in New Orleans? I didn't pay attention.
No, they're not. He's from New Orleans, yeah.
Okay. So, they were playing a little boogie woogie.
Oh, yeah,
whatever
they were in
there.
North Carolina.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So Starks cuts a promo about winning the title, cuts into Brian Cage. Cage comes out, beats up the band members. Instead, Starks running to the back. But, Starks, not nearly the superstar that he was a few weeks ago. The crowd wasn't quite as crazy for him. So that was weird. It was in Texas, too, and he's from New Orleans, so I don't get it. That one show was just wild.
Who the heck knows? Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you. But either way, I mean, I think Ricky Starks, maybe it's less that the crowd doesn't like him, but more just like, Team Taz went on for so long, and now he's now just against Team Taz for so long. Like it doesn't really feel like maybe anything's different.
Yeah. Maybe that was just a one-hit wonder a couple weeks ago, that great match he had.
I mean, I
knows?
sure as heck hope not. Right after this matchup, though, because of course later on we are getting Lance Archer versus Hikuleo.
Yeah,
Hikuleo, sorry, for that IWGP United States Championship. But we do get a special message pre-recorded from one of professional wrestling's absolute all-stars, one of the greatest from New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, who does come and tell us that he will be challenging the winner of this match for that IWGP US Championship, a match, a belt that he's never had. In the promo, he says he's going to challenge them in Japan for that, whenever that might be. But what are you going to say?
Yeah, I was hoping that it would be, take place in AEW, but I mean, maybe they'll still air it on AEW.
Well, Mike, I mean, you've been watching professional wrestling for years, right? You think that's how they're going to give it away? You think they're just going to go, yep, I'll wrestle you in Japan, and you will only see me in Japan, and you will never see me in the States. And then, Mike, you're being worked, and you're like, oh, boo. Boo, hoo, hoo.
It's happened.
If the thought of, if the prospect of Tanahashi appearing on AEW Dynamite does not excite you one bit, you're either not a professional wrestling fan, or you are a professional wrestling fan, but only from the but have no idea about who he is. He's a fucking legend. Just Google him. We'll wait, listeners. Google Hiroshi Tanahashi and then take, 4 hours to read all about all of his accolades. That's all I got. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited for that too.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. I want to see him on Dynamite. I mean, I guess we just did, but I want to see him in the ring. Anyways, let's go to some tag team action here. FTR taking on Santana and Ortiz, two of the best teams in the division here. Everything was going pretty well up until Cash Wheeler. He climbs up the top ropes, but then he gets shoved and just kind of falls awkwardly and appears to get a nasty cut. Just slices open his arm, and I don't know, I guess got caught on a piece of metal there, but immediately I can hear the camera picked up. He heard him like, oh my God. And then
honestly,
the ref,
this looked bad to me.
It looked like a deep slice. And the ref just signals.
And the way that he just goes right off to the medical kind of area, and they're there, and we see later blood and just because of the way because of where he fell. That's not a place where you kind of normally get scratched up. It's a hard surface, but the way that I think either like there was something sticking out and his arm went right into it, or I think he hit the apron and there was a compound fracture. I didn't go back and watch it because I was scared, but I think I saw a bone popping out as soon as
I didn't see that. I thought I saw like sliced open arm.
Okay, yeah.
I did. Yeah.
The way that it happened, I thought to myself, either like something that wasn't supposed to go into your arm went into his arm, or there was a compound fracture of some kind. Hopefully it's neither. Or it's definitely something. But whatever it is, God, I want him to be okay.
Yeah, hopefully nothing like too crazy. But it definitely did put a hush in the match as they kind of just rushed to the finish. Hardwood hits a big brainbuster, gets the pin, but immediately after just goes and checks on Wheeler, and we can see blood coming out of his arm. But yeah, we'll see what the update is on him.
Yeah, well, I mean, God, just hoping for the best, really.
Yeah. But that's not the only injury, as Britt Baker is interviewed backstage and reveals that Nyla Rose broke her wrist for the second time in her title defense last week. But, hopefully that's something she can fight through. If it's not too bad a break, I can heal in like 4 weeks. And
I mean, what the hell, Britt Baker, though, right? Like, so how is this happening? Now, this has to, where's the shoot meter on this, right? So professional wrestling is something that is scary, and you need to be good at to protect the other people. Now, oftentimes, the community will give flack on Nia Jax for injuring other women, right? But when you are the one being constantly injured, is it not safe to turn that around and be like, it's not her who's the dangerous one, it's the other women in the division who are dangerous? Clear. I mean, what? So we have a torn ACL, a broken nose, and now a broken wrist in what, 2 years? Is this possibly a case of the other? But she can have the most brutal women's match ever and be totally fine. Is this possibly a matter of the women's division not being, with the AEW women's division, maybe not being up to par, maybe being a little bit more dangerous?
That could be part of it. Yeah. A lot of people. WWE has their formulaic ways, but it could be the safer route for some of them.
It seems like the way that you go through the Performance Center, well, especially with WWE, you go through the Performance Center, you practice, you have coaches who are, like world, renowned. They're known for wrestling. They do one thing, and it's fucking wrestling. Yeah. I mean, shit. I just kind of hope for the fucking best that this isn't. This isn't a problem with the women's division itself.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it was just a bit of a freak thing. I didn't even really see or notice her getting hurt in the actual match. But, yeah, I don't know. I think Baker can fight through it. She just had like a little, I don't even know if it was a cast. She had like some sort of brace on her arm.
Yeah, it was a cast. It looked like a cast, at least.
Was it full-on cast? Yeah. Well, it was black, so they got it nicely done. But after that, they announced that Rampage, the episode taking place in Chicago August 20th, will be a special event known as the First Dance. So speculation is running wild that could be the first appearance of CM Punk.
What?
To set up a match for 2 days later at All Out.
Why? Does he have a dance thing? Is that part of his lore?
Well, I mean, it's in Chicago, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So just because it's in Chicago. Gotcha.
And to pour some fuel on the fire of these rumors, we go backstage to Darby Allin and Sting getting interviewed, and Darby cuts this slightly cryptic promo. But at the end, he says, even if you think you're the best in the world, I'm better. But that whole best in the world, that's a clear CM Punk reference.
But if there's one, if AEW can just play into all the Twitter nerds, they're gonna do it fucking every single week if the opportunity arises them, right? Be like, oh, he said it. He said that one little line. So I think it's in a couple weeks. The show premieres August 13th.
So I guess I
believe.
So that'll be the second episode of Rampage, and that's my prediction. We see CM Punk show up on that one.
On the second episode of Rampage.
Yeah.
Because if All Out is on the 5th of September, that's still like, what, 3 weeks between the first Rampage and the actual thing?
Yeah, so they can have time to have CM Punk show up, start a feud, have a match.
Great. That's all you need.
But we go to that IWGP US title match. Lance Archer taking on Hikuleo, accompanied by WWE legend, wrestling legend, King Haku, who you may not be too familiar with, but he's known as one of the scariest, don't fuck with this guy backstage type of thing. Like, he will pluck your eyeball out of your skull.
Jesus.
That's how crazy. Bite your nose off your face.
Wow.
Crazy motherfucker. But also tough, not just crazy. But anyways, Archer, he's a big man. This Hikuleo, though, he's actually he got a few inches on Lance Archer. He was tall. But, Haku tries to interfere a bit behind the ref's back, but Archer overcomes, hits the blackout, gets the win, retains his belt.
Retains.
So he'll take on Tanahashi.
Which means that, he's heading off to Japan, baby. To maybe kind of keep that belt over there, or maybe just kind of like the New Japan, it's like the New Japan Dojo or whatever in the American New Japan. Could be kind of doing that also. We'll see.
We then go to Cody sitting at his EVP desk, or just working behind the scenes, and He gets interviewed about facing Malachi Black, and some more noticeable boos from the crowd as Cody's talking. But then a big cheer when he gets interrupted by a boot to the face from Malachi Black.
That might take a minute because that's a whole new name.
Yeah. So Black and Cody, they just start brawling up to the stage, and Black stands tall. Someone comes out and gets another black mass as well. I forget who it was.
Fuego del Sol.
There you go. The Legend Lucha.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. But I think the boos, for me, the boos were the biggest part that I really noticed about this. I think this match is a no-brainer, and they're doing the whole all black, all white. I get exactly what's happening. But yeah, Malachi Black is going the fuck. He's over like Rover, as Bruce Pritchard would say. And yeah, I mean, it seems like if the rumors are true with Malachi Black, if there is any time that, the network can kind of say to themselves, hey, we don't need Cody on TV anymore. Maybe this could be a match to take Cody away from that on-screen role. I mean, he did just have a kid, and he's super involved within the entire organization, right?
Yeah. Well, this match is taking place next week on Dynamite, so I don't know. I have to imagine Cody will be on All Out. So if they can extend it to that, or if they just want to, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, who knows, really?
Then we go to 6-man tag action. The Hardy Family Office taking on Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian. Pretty standard 6-man affair here. I guess the coolest part for me was when Luchasaurus gets there and hits a triple German suplex, taking all 3 of his opponents at once. Then, he hits Mark Quinn with a big choke slam, tags in Christian, hits the frog splash, gets a 3 count. But as the baby faces celebrate, the Blade comes in, sucker punches Christian with the brass knuckles, leaves him knockout cold. So I don't know where that came from. I thought the Blade was fusing with the best friends and shit.
Yeah, honestly, no clue what's going on over there on that side of things. But yeah, the crowd had a lot of energy for these baby faces. The baby faces go over. It'd be a lot of cool to see Christian Cage, who's being billed from Toronto. I'm not sure.
Not Orangeville.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where they used to bill him in WWE, where he was billed from or anything like that. But I
think they said Toronto.
Who knows? They may have said. But I think he was from. It's Edge who's from Orangeville. Christian is from like Kitchener or Peterborough, like not, but still, I mean,
almost always they'll just say Toronto.
Of course, it's better than them saying.
Or sometimes they lie; they'll just make up an American city.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's better than them just saying from Canada.
Yeah. Julia Hart, speaking of Canada, takes on Thunder Rosa, who has finally officially signed with AEW. Which I think we've all been waiting for. And It was only a matter of time. And she's currently the number 1 ranked woman in the division. So, carrying lots of momentum here. Julia Hart puts up a pretty good fight. She's got a lot of promise there. But Rosa just outclasses her, hits the Thunder Driver to get the win. So at this point, I'm hoping, Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker Part 2, All Out. That's your women's title match right there.
That seems like a no-brainer. If Britt Baker can kind of heal her wrist before then. And, the AEW Women's Division, this is the kick that it certainly needs. We need women like Thunder Rosa. We need people like Chris Statlander. We need people who's kind of being thrown into that spotlight a little bit more. Because this was still our only women's match on the entire card.
Yeah, so. And it's still stuck in that 9:30 spot always.
Yeah, that exact fucking same spot.
But we've got a hell of a main event for you tonight because the second labor of Jericho, we've got a no rules, pretty much a death match here because the Painmaker, Chris Jericho, is taking on Nick Gage, he's just known for his craziness. You might have seen. Did you see the clips of Matt Cardona beating him for the GCW title, and the fans just going wild, throwing a bunch of shit at him.
I only heard Meltzer talking about the fans being assholes like that. Meltzer.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty.
Meltzer recalled
Yeah,
a
they were
story.
throwing-
There is a story of, I think it was a luchador guy, who, fans, because the fans, now we're saying like, oh, it was just like plastic cups and shit like that. But there was apparently a luchador wrestler from the 90s. The fans did the same thing. Somebody threw a battery, which hit that guy in the eyeball, and he's been blind in that one eye ever since. So, yeah, if you're a fan, don't throw shit in the ring unless it's streamers and you're at a Ring of Honor show.
No, this was like full beer cans, and a couple pizza cutters got thrown at him.
which
It was
is
pretty dangerous.
which is they should be checking for weapons as soon as people walk in. But yeah, Nick Gage,
Well, they encourage them. They want the weapons at these
Nick
crazy
Gage,
shows.
the king of the hardcore style, and a no rules match as labor number 2 for Chris Jericho.
Yeah. So right off the bat, Gage just pulls out a pizza cutter and he's swinging it around like a wild man and catches Jericho in the arm, cuts him open. So no gimmicks here, folks. That's a real pizza cutter. But there's a couple of minutes where they actually do some wrestling moves. I think Gage does like a spine buster, Falcon's Arrow, a couple moves there. Jericho's head gets cut open, and we pull out some more weapons. Gage goes under the rings, pulls out a big stack of fluorescent light tubes, a staple of the ND Deathmatch,
The old light tube.
and a staple of every classroom in school. But Chris Jericho pulls out his baseball bat to counter him, starts hitting him with that. But then Gage gets the pizza cutter back and just starts rubbing it across Jericho's forehead, so he's all sliced up. And then Gage pulls out this pane of glass. And I noticed there was kind of this unmentioned handler just kind of helping him a bit, set up a
Yeah, he
couple
had a
spots
guy who he
there.
kind of grabbed, was like, "Give me that."
Yeah, which, I guess, save some time. We're on a budget here. 10 o'clock, the show has to end, so he grabs a big pane of glass, sets it up across 2 chairs. So we got a glass table here. They fight their way up to the top rope. Gage looks to slam Jericho, but Jericho reverses it. It's a huge top rope Hurricane Rana. Gage crashes down through the glass pane. Both men are just cut up everywhere. Just bleeding all over. Jericho goes for a code breaker, but he gets slammed down into the glass shards, which, would have happened anyways, even if he hit the code breaker. So, I also noticed Aubrey Edwards was wearing some heavy-duty gloves.
Yeah,
here
she had
for all the
actual
pinfalls.
mechanic gloves on.
Yeah, like heavy padded. So
Yeah.
you're gonna be slamming your hand down the glass and shit. Then we get the light tubes. Gage smashes it over Jericho's back, and then a second one smashes it over his skull. And then he picks him up, pile drives him into all the broken glass, makes the cover, but Jericho kicks out at 2. So Gage grabs another light tube. This time he just smashes it in half over his leg and then uses the jagged broken end as a shiv and just starts stabbing Jericho rapidly in the forehead. Then he pulls out the super light tubes, which is 4 of them taped together, goes to hit Jericho with it, but Jericho then surprises him with the poison mist, sprays him in the eyes, blinding him, and then he picks up the quadruple light stack and smashes it over Gage, follows it with a Judas effect, gets the 3 count, wins the second labor.
Wins
And
the second
just a bloody mess.
MJF was on commentary the whole time, of course, doing a great job. He tells everybody, shut up, Schiavone. Shut up, JR.
Yeah.
He did an incredible job on the thing. And then afterwards, that scarf-wearing spoiled little brat comes out. After holding a grudge on a joke based 2 years ago when Jericho was the AW champion and had pointed fun at his parents maybe watching a match with Jericho and Juventud Guerrera. Maybe got a little too excited, and then he was conceived, and MJF responded, "Who's Juventud Guerrera?" Well, it turns out that not only does he know who he is, he did a quick Google search, got his contact info, and next week's labor of Jericho will be that Chris Jericho needs to get a pinfall with a maneuver off the top rope, and he will be going against none other than his WCW former rival, Juventud Guerrera.
Yeah, so that's exciting. That's a lot of I mean, I haven't seen Hoovy in a long time, but I remember him, would play as him in some of the WCW video games, all the crazy moves he would do. Yeah, that should be fun. And Jericho, I mean, what's he going to do? A frog splash off the top rope? I certainly don't see him doing any flips.
Maybe like.
I mean, he does a lion salt.
Maybe he could do. I think he could do a
moonsault.
lion salt off the top rope. But either way, I think either this match was thumbs up or thumbs down. There was super no in the middle. Like, I'm sure you might talk to somebody who's like, no, I hate it. And then you might talk to somebody who's like, I love it. And you might talk to somebody who's like, I really liked it. There was no two sides of this coin. I think even though, this was that kind of death match style, I think I liked it because I don't watch death match wrestling. So seeing this was like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah. I don't go out of my way to watch deathmatch wrestling,
No.
but I see some clips here and there, and I think this was the perfect amount. They didn't do anything so insanely stupid like certain people do, and but it was still over the top. You'd never see stuff like this. Like, this may be the first time you've seen light tubes on major North American promotion.
And it's just
TV.
like, when you watch something with the thumbtacks in the mouth or whatever it is, it's because the cringiness you get is because you probably don't get to watch it that often. And
so I thought it was really good.
And for Nick Gage, the major fucking milestone and opportunity for him, right? Because you got to remember, these guys who are into deathmatch, I think a guy like Nick Gage into this deathmatch style, like, this is a passion for him. Just like Zack Sabre Jr. likes submissions, just like Braun Strowman loves running around the ring and knocking people over. Like, this is his thing. He loves doing it, and he got the opportunity to show the entire world what it is. So I think that is really cool. And for Juventud Guerrera next week, rather, I'm almost excited for, not only am I excited for the match next week, I'm excited for Labor 4 and 5. I'm thinking to myself, what else are we going to do? Is this whole Labor thing going to be a great opportunity to bring, other people into the spotlight for a little bit? Nick Gage and then Juventud, and then who knows, it could be somebody else with a thing, and who knows, number 5 could be Dean Malenko hopping back in there for all we know. Very excited to see what the future of this holds.
Oh, well, there's some speculation going on that this could be a farewell tour of sorts for Jericho. I mean, he went pretty all out in this match here. This is definitely the bloodiest, most hardcore match he's had in his career. Fighting some classic rivals on his way out, and end with the big match, put MJF over. The final Labor could be put your career on the line against me.
I mean, and that's really what it seems. If this is, I feel like our timing isn't quite right for for this to be at All Out. But I think the week before All Out, or a week and a half, they go to Madison Square Gardens. Or so there's a chance that's a huge fucking show for that to happen, right? And if there's one guy who's gonna go out putting somebody over, it's the GOAT, right? It's Chris fucking Jericho. And this Labor, and he's probably got to be almost 50 now, right? Or at least mid 40s. His band, are able to go back on tour. He will always be a fixture in All Elite Wrestling, but he has been on TV every single week, every pay-per-view for 2 years now, since the inception of this company.
Yeah, so, I mean, he might not necessarily have to retire, but maybe become a part-time guy. Who knows? But,
who knows?
Yeah, the Labors will continue, and we're looking forward.
We're looking forward to next week's Labors, and the rest of it as we build towards All Out, SummerSlam, and Takeover. Let's wrap up this show nice and neatly by presenting to you the Wrestler of the Week.
It's the Wrestler of the Week, of the Week. The Wrestler of the Week, of the Week, of the Week. The Wrestler of the Week, of the Week, of the Week. The Wrestler of the Week, of the Week, of the Week. The Wrestler of the Week.
Mike, I'm going to go first. We just kind of talked about it a bunch right there. For a lot of reasons, it was the bloodiest match of his career. Letting a deathmatch guy like Nick Gage come in on you, let him bloody you up, but you still get the pin. hey, it's kind of like putting him over. You're putting over his style of wrestling. You're putting over something new that the fans might not be used to. So I got to give this week's Wrestler of the Week to Chris Jericho. If he is on the way out, I feel incredibly lucky that I was able to witness possibly one of the best stretches of his entire career.
Yeah, no, this AEW run has been
And
fantastic.
even the slight before AEW run with the stuff in New Japan, Kenny Omega, kind of kicking off with that Kenny Omega match at Wrestle Kingdom 12. These past 5 years of Chris Jericho's life have been incredible, and if this is it, well, then I'm so glad I got to be so glad I got to watch it.
Yes. Yeah, I'll just go in full agreement there. Chris Jericho, I mean, he outdid Moxley. That was the most hardcore match, I think, in AEW history. So,
Yeah, I'd give
and
you
he's
that.
not even really known for that.
I'd give you that too. Yeah.
That was awesome. And I mean, yeah, Nick Gage kind of put a big spotlight on him. You know, he got to be on a TV audience of over 1 million people. So, if people, like you said, some people, not everyone's going to like that. There are probably some parents or kids that are going to be like, that's too much. But I thought it was great. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Chris Jericho, well done.
Congratulations, Chris Jericho and both Nick Gage. And God, that was the entire show. Ran a little bit long today, but that's okay because we love talking about professional wrestling here. Thanks for listening. You can rate, review, like, subscribe because the show is everywhere. And we will be back next week with the next labor, the next unfortunate saga in Monday Night Raw. And all of that main roster and professional wrestling action.
Yeah, and whatever rumors are swirling in between now and then.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to a little bit of that. Okay, Mike, you take care of yourself.